Hello, my name is Tom, and welcome to 2025. Wee oo. Why did I say that? Now that we're in a new year, we've got a new fresh perspective, we've got some new goals, and I think the perfect way to start this new year together is to go over some new Minecraft Predator allegations. Yay!
What's this guy been up to? So sorry. I didn't know she was 12. Oh, no.
Today's allegations are about a guy named Ziff, and they are pretty insane to say the least. You know, usually when it comes to online allegations, they generally go to the extent of like really weird Discord DMs. But in this case, it seems like it's actually translated into in real life meetups. This guy was having TwitchCon, but at his house. And it goes further than that. There's even possibly, allegedly, some kind of grand conspiracy that was eventually uncovered involving the victim's family. But as always, when it comes to topics like this, viewer discretion is advised. So Ziff, the subject of today's video, started his channel all the way back in 2014, and he debuted with his first video the very same day. That initial upload marked the start of his first video series featuring gameplay from the soulless SMP server and Crazycraft alongside his friend Poison. And over time, he expanded his content to include a lot of very familiar things like Pixelmon, which is like the Pokemon mod for Minecraft back in the day. I've never personally played it, but I do remember seeing videos about it and not understanding what was going on when I was 10 years old. Then of course, he played a lot of Hunger Games, which was personally what I watched a lot back in the day. I loved Captain Sparkle's Hunger Games. That was my stuff. And he also did some mini game mashups. Okay, ooh, mashup, minigame. And through doing all these kinds of content, through becoming involved with the Minecart and Pulse SMP servers, from doing Skywars videos on Hypixel, by late 2017, he had a little bit of an audience for himself. He had reached 30,000 subscribers, earning him the coveted YouTuber rank in the Hypixel server. Now, I know there's like so many Minecraft YouTubers out there, but if you've seen any of this guy's videos, the stuff you've probably seen are his Bed Wars videos that are still his most popular to this day, with the biggest one having 1.5 million views. But really, he's just kind of a standard Minecraft channel that kind of peaked in popularity a few years ago. Today, he's got 300,000 subscribers, but his videos don't really hit like they used to. But that does not mean that his audience is completely gone, as his Discord server, called Ziff's Happy Place, was still very active until recently, because invites are now paused. You see, on December 14th of 2024, an anonymous Twitter account posted a now deleted thread accusing Ziff of having been in a relationship with one of his fans when he was 19 and she was 13. Now, obviously, people saw this and they were talking about it. It got cross-posted to Reddit, and it received a bunch of attention there. And then the original Twitter thread was taken down on the 15th after the victim asked the poster to do so. And an official statement was made soon after, apparently from the alleged victim. Now, before the statement starts, there is a title saying not to spread the identity of this victim, and that whoever is posting this apparently had seen their ID, so this was 100% proof, at least according to them. I don't really know. I don't know these people. But they then get into the actual statement from this supposed victim. And by the way, Ziff's real name is Dylan, just so you don't get confused. We're gonna call him Dylan. Big Dill. Back in 2018, I was groomed and essayed by YouTuber Dylan /Ziffalopagus/Ziff at the age of 13 and 14 whilst he was 19 and 20. I am now 19. It started with me being a fan. After I did a lot of artwork for him and started doing paid work, we started talking. Eventually, in May of 2018, we started dating. I was a stupid kid. I was very troubled. I was bullied in school, had nothing good going for me, and I had low self-esteem. I spent a lot of time online and got close to Dylan, but for the first month of our relationship, I lied about my age and told him I was 16. After our first real-life meetup at VidCon in 2018, only 1 month after our relationship began, I finally told him the truth, and he knew from that point on that I was only 13 years old. I pleaded with him not to break up with me, but my begging was not needed. He seemed to have absolutely no intent of breaking up with me, and this caused no problem for him at all. We eventually did break up in July of 2019, but not before we met and spent time together on 4 other occasions in person, in which I was SA'd. During this time period, I attempted ending my own life twice, resulting in 2 hospitalizations. I'd like to state that talking about this situation, or even thinking about it, puts me in a lot of emotional distress and makes me sick. This was a terrible time in my life, and I look back on it with disgust, anger, and sadness. This is why I'm keeping myself anonymous. If you know who I am, and we used to be friends, feel free to reach out if you wish. Currently, at this point in my life, we haven't talked since 2020, and I have to some extent erased a lot of these thoughts and memories from my head due to trauma. I can't even remember his last name anymore. After this is out, I just want to move on with my life, go to work again, live with my current partner, who I love so much, and hang out with my cats. I'm planning on having a very nice holiday with my family. I wish to not go into certain specifics because of how traumatic some of these situations situations were, the thought of them makes me physically sick, like I want to throw up. Thank you for reading this and reading my side of the story. Now, obviously, off the bat, this is a very damning allegation, I would say. You know, the idea that a 19-year-old dated a 13-year-old is not an age gap that I'm comfortable with, or I think really anyone's comfortable with, you know? That's that's not good, okay? Anthony Fantano review of that relationship, not good. And while she does claim that at one point she lied and said she was 16, she claims that, you know, at one point she revealed her real age and he kept dating her anyway. So it kind of puts an interesting dilemma that we're in right here, right? Now, the statement also included two separate photos. One of them is apparently a picture of Ziff with the alleged victim, and another one of them seems to be a point of view of the victim taking a photo with Ziff and a cat, which, by the way, nice cat, all right? Gray cat, you know, a lot of people don't like gray cats. They kind of don't respect them. I'm sorry, this is more serious than that. I just like cats. I want a cat. I wish I had a cat. Can I have a cat? But even with these two photos, I mean, we don't really have a lot of context for what's going on here. We have like two random pictures. We don't know who the person on the left is. We don't know if they even took this picture on the right. We have this statement, so there's not a lot of like proof at this point, right? A lot of serious allegations, a lot of serious claims, but no direct proof to lead us towards the conclusion that Ziff is guilty. Now, a lot more context would come out after that, but I will say it's slightly frustrating that the statement starts with like, this statement and the following statement should be all the evidence you need to believe these allegations, when the evidence up until this point was kind of like, trust me, bro, but I'm not going to go too aggro here, okay? I'm not going to go too aggro, because a few days later, another thread would be created that included the victim's statement along with a bit more extra information. They first say that the victim had allegedly been making thumbnails and that Ziff had even titled a stream with her called High Pixel Stream with My Girlfriend. Ziff had also allegedly publicly been showing off this relationship, with one tweet showing him and the victim on a 10-day trip, another one where he apparently can be seen mentioning the victim in a tweet saying that he loves her, and another where he's adding her being like Happy Valentine's Day with an apparent picture of him and her fursona. It is one of those.
Shout out to Furs.
This was allegedly in 2019, which would make the ages 14 on the victim's side and Ziff like 20 or 21. And the thread then ends with two pictures showing the victim's current alleged age and Ziff's current age, along with a statement which says, the victim's bio now says she's 19. Ziff is now 26. The relationship began in 2018. We have censored her ad for her privacy, but people who were around in this community at this time will know this is legit. We have seen her ID and can also confirm that she is 19. Again, at this time, there was still no real direct proof that any of these ages were real or even that the victim was necessarily telling the truth. I mean, the pictures are real, but because they're all censored, it's impossible to know what the actual ages are in the situation. Like, whoever was under the account was basically being like, look, we have proof, but we're not really going to show it yet. You know, you just kind of got to trust us. We've seen her ID, which I think to a lot of people looks very skeptical, and they were suspicious, which I don't blame them for. And that's why this post got a lot of skepticism. Skepticism that lasted until 3 days later, where Ziff would make a response actually confirming several things they previously had no evidence for, as well as making some pretty interesting statements that kind of complicate this whole thing even more. This video is sponsored by Gamer Subs, the best energy drink that money can buy. It tastes great. It's got a lot of fun and cool and zany and awesome flavors. I personally have been drinking a lot of Crusaderade lately. This is Swagger Souls' flavor. And I've also been drinking this one called Kissy Kissy Passion, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like what's on it, but it does taste good, so I drink it. It's also a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable than other energy drinks, and YouTubers are selling it, so what could possibly go wrong? So go to gamersubs.gg/Tom to get 10% off your order today, and a special thanks to Gamersubs for sponsoring my videos where I talk about weird shit and act embarrassing. All right, now back to the video. Now, Ziff's response is very long and talks about a lot of irrelevant things, so we'll try to kind of cover the stuff that matters here and that's relevant. He starts the document saying that the statement had a lot of incorrect information, but that he has the full story. He then talks about the first time meeting her when they talked in 2017 online, when she started out as a fan that made thumbnails for his channel. He also says, in messages talking about thumbnails or art projects that she was working on during that time, she mentioned that her birthday had just happened in April and that she was 16 years old. I was 18 years old at that time. Keep that in mind for later. Now, Ziff recounts that in May of 2018, after recording a video, she asked him out, believing that she was 17 while he was 19, and given their shared interests and positive interactions, he agreed. In June of 2018, he then attended VidCon in California, where she and her family, who were also attending, invited him to dinner and subsequently on a road trip to see the redwood trees. Ooh, the redwood trees from California. Burn it to the ground! The trip included her parents, her older sister, her older cousin, and of course, Ziff. He notes that she appeared close in age to her sister and her cousin, at least according to him, and none of the family contradicted her claims about her age during their time together. He says that he felt very welcomed by the family and had no reason to suspect any dishonesty. He even recalls sleeping on the living room couch while others had separate rooms, and he described the trip as enjoyable, with activities like hiking, gaming, and group discussions, whatever the f that means. After the trip, Ziff states they continued collaborating on YouTube videos, gaming, and calling regularly. Her parents often apparently join these calls, sharing stories and encouraging their communication. I don't know if the parents have Discord accounts, I don't really know, but you know, anything's possible. And Ziff maintains that he was unaware of this deception at the time, right? He's kind kind of maintaining that he didn't know her true age. And this is kind of where it starts to get really weird. Throughout the time I had known her, there were times where she would be offline for a few days or even a week, and she often gave reasons and excuses for her absence afterwards. She would say she was traveling for a vacation, or there was a power outage or hardware or computer failure, with zero contact on any platform during or ahead of time, which confused me. There were also more stories about her getting emotionally upset more and more often as time went on. Usually intertwined into this story was a random out of context comment about her age with no clarification or explanation as to what she meant or how it was connected to her story when I would ask her what it meant. Many months later, I found out that a lot of these reasons she would disappear were due to arguments with her parents about the lie she created about her age and a few various hospitalizations around emotional instability and her lying to others consistently and her attempting to self-harm and potentially wanting to end her own life upon reflection of what she had been doing or lying about. There was one instance where she had thrown her keyboard and knocked her monitor onto the floor, causing it to break, so she couldn't be online for a while until it was paid for and replaced. But I didn't know any of this at the time. So the claim is so the claim here is basically this guy's rebuttal is like, there was this grand conspiracy to hide this girl's age and nobody from her family was telling me. If the parents were truly in some sort of conspiracy to hide their daughter's age, I mean, that's a crazy claim he's making, but obviously, you know, from what he says, they didn't seem happy about it, judging from the arguments that Ziff says they had, but he says they still let it happen, basically. Like, if they had an issue with it, what's with all these wholesome family trips that Ziff would be attending with her extended family? Why invite him to all this shit? It's very strange, it's very weird, and speaking of strange and weird, we're gonna keep reading. I also found out later that she had created private accounts and places that she would draw not safe for work art of her and my characters in provocative and explicit positions, and had been doing so randomly over the course of several months. When I found out, I asked her to stop posting and creating that art as it makes me uncomfortable, and was done so without my permission or knowledge. She slowly reduced how often she posted that content, but did not fully stop after I asked. Just a reminder, this is, at least from what he's saying, this is allegedly still when he thought she was 17 and he was 19, so this part isn't, I guess, it's just weird, man. What is going on? What the f is going on? I've yet to see an allegation quite like this in my life. On multiple occasions during this trip, I would be woken up by her trying to lie with me while I was sleeping. On multiple occasions, she asked me or attempted to have sex with me, to which I replied, no. He stopped gooning. My entire life, I've been surrounded by a Christian family and never wanted to be involved or take part in sex before marriage. This has always been my viewpoint, and this was my first relationship in my entire life. So being able to stand on my beliefs and saying no in that situation is very important to me and my foundation and morals as a person. And I had talked to her parents about my beliefs during past trips. After I had said no, I talked to her parents about it during this trip as it made me uncomfortable. So to be accused of this after that being my stance on the entire interaction is unfair and extremely hurtful. So what this guy is saying, keep in mind, just follow me here, rock with me here, okay? I'm like playing the bass in a really good way, but it's like a Minecraft allegation video and I'm just reading something someone else said, but just rock with me here, okay? What he's saying is that she asked him to have sex. He said no. He told her parents, and her parents actually knew that she was actually 13 and he was 20 or 21, and they didn't say anything? What the f is going on? And the thing is about this, like, he has no proof for this, so I don't know how real that is. There's no reason for me to believe that it's true, but just reading this is like boggling my mind if it is true. But I don't know if it is. There's no reason to think that it is. But according to him, a month after that, they finally had enough. The parents had enough. He says at the beginning of April 2019, I got a phone call from her, being the girl, crying with her parents in the background, telling her to tell him the truth. This story needs to stop right now. So through tears, she said on a phone call that she was turning 14 years old later that month and not 18 years old. And she had said previously that she had been lying about her age online to all her friends, including me, since before I had ever met her. I was in shock that our entire friendship and relationship had been built on a lie that had been supported and fabricated by her entire family for years to keep her emotionally stable and alive. After she said it, she started screaming and crying so loud that at moments the phone speaker would cut out and it was very hard to understand what she was saying afterwards. I was shocked, confused, and concerned about her emotional state. Hours of stories, timelines of events, and what I had been told by everyone around her on separate trips to different places was all a lie. I didn't know what to do at that moment and felt betrayed. To this day, I still have extreme trust issues and paranoia about being lied to with most people, friends, and family because of this entire interaction with her and her family over this time spent interacting with one another. Over the course of the next few months, I didn't know what to do to be able to break up with her without her potentially harming herself. Her interactions were built upon a lie and betrayed my trust on so many levels, but I still cared about her well-being because I have a heart. I intentionally and consistently encouraged her to do things with her new friends at her new school and to choose to focus on art. I encouraged her to be busy with activities outside of interacting with me all the time. So now he's saying that instead of breaking up with the 13-year-old when they revealed that they had been lying to him and the family had been lying in some grand conspiracy according to him, he didn't stay with her for a few days. Stay with her, she's 13, whatever. He didn't keep dating this girl for a few days, but instead months, out of fear that she would end herself. The parents also, apparently, according to him, allegedly being in the background of this phone call is like insane too. Like imagine you're the dad that withheld this information and you're talking to your daughter in a disappointed tone, like she just stole money from the cookie jar or something. But once again, the problem with this is that there aren't any text messages, there aren't any photos, there aren't any videos, etc. of any of this happening. So Ziff could just be lying about the whole parent part, trying to disperse the blame to other people. Who knows? I will say, I find it odd that, you know, right off the bat, I don't really know what this girl looks like, nor do I really want to, but I do find it weird that he could confuse a 13-year-old for an 18-year-old. Like, I feel like usually they look pretty different, generally speaking. Haven't seen a lot of 13-year-olds lately, but I feel like they probably look different than an 18-year-old girl. Could be wrong, though. Could be wrong. You never know. Epstein Island, what's up? Maybe she looks really old in the photos. I don't know. From that one we do have, it looked like she was very tall, so maybe that's it. I don't really know. Now, the rest of this document from Ziff honestly doesn't really matter at this point in time in terms of him being guilty of knowing, honestly, like, because he literally does just straight up admit that he does know it at some point in time, right? He does say that at some point in time, but he says like, oh, well, I did it to prevent her from ending her life, right? But it does somehow continue to get more interesting and bad, even. So Ziff continues to say that in July of 2019, according to him, the parents suggested that the girl who had been lying about her age to this older guy, right, this like 19-year-old at this point, he's claiming that the parents took her to see him after everything that had happened. I don't even know. He then says that they did actually come literally visit him for a fun, wholesome little vacation after she revealed she was 14, and the group had a blast. Like, they went out to eat, he says, they went to the arcade, they went to a comedy show, and he then says during this trip there were a few times when her dad would go get food or coffee or go on a hike very early in the morning before I woke up, as that's one of his hobbies he does on trips. The first time he wasn't there, I woke up to her moving her blow-up mattress into my room, as my apartment didn't have any locks on the bedroom or office doors. I moved the mattress back into the living room after waking up and continued working on videos and schoolwork, and mentioned it to her dad when he returned. On another day, I woke up to her snuggling against me asking to have sex. Once again, I said no. I was even more shocked than when she had asked me on the last trip, because she and her family had already told me about her lying about her age at this point. Okay, so there's no proof of this story, okay, happening so far as I can tell from this document. There's no proof of this story. So here's the situation we're in, okay? This guy, in his own words, okay, in his own words, he dates this girl that he thinks is close to 18 when he's like 19. Eventually, the family reveals to him that she's actually 13, almost 14. Despite that, he continues dating her online so that she won't kill herself. After that point in time, the family comes to his house. He invites them to his house. He invites this family with this child liar, in his words, who catfished him, baited him, whatever, right? This is what he's saying happened. She comes to his house and she snuggles with him against his will, okay? Against his will, which is already, it's crazy that we're even at that point, okay? But we're at this point, and asked him to have sex. And instead of him being like, get the fuck out, this family needs to leave, this girl should not be around me, he's like, what are you doing, man? You can't do that. I'll tell your dad. I mean, based on this, he wasn't like, you guys gotta leave right now. He was just like, no, I'm not doing it. Anyway, wanna have like cereal or something? Maybe play some COD? I honestly don't know why he thought that saying this would help him or something. I mean, it's like, I mean, this is very useful to confirm a few of the victim's statements, but like, are you like, do you have rocks in your head? Like, I don't know. This story seems far-fetched, okay? It's possible, but this story seems far-fetched. Very far-fetched. Now, the rest of the document is basically him being like, you know, he couldn't break up with her. He didn't know how to break up with the child. He's saying that she basically like alluded to game ending herself before, so because he hadn't been in a relationship, this was his first relationship, he didn't really know how to handle this, according to him. I don't think it needs to be said why this is retarded. Like, you're 20, she's 14, break up with her, call her parents and tell them to go handle it. Or maybe not these parents, according to you, but you know, you get the idea. Like, you should not be in this position. You should not be in this position right now. But according to him, finally, 6 months after she had revealed her true age, he says that he broke up with her while she was in the car with her mom. I called her while she was in the car with her mom. I let her know that we needed to break up because of age differences, different life experiences, different goals for the future, and growing apart from one another, as it was healthier for both of us in the long term to have a relationship built on truth and trust instead of lies. Yeah, dude. I mean, I agree, frankly. I think you guys definitely needed to break up because of different goals for the future. Had nothing to do with the fact that she was in the 8th grade while you had graduated high school. For sure. Nothing to do with that. Unrelated. Go on Joe Rogan tomorrow and talk about it. And I've said it several times at this point, but Ziff didn't include any evidence in this document. So other than confirming what the victim had already kind of said, as far as like, you know, the idea that they knew each other, everything else that he says is just word of mouth. Now, after Ziff posted this response, the original Twitter account that linked the victim's statement would reply with a video of Ziff apparently talking to the victim while they were dating.
Hey Sam.
Yeah?
If you were a Pokemon item and you were used on me, you know what you would do?
What? fuck?
So after Ziff made his response, most people thought the drama was done and that Ziff was basically screwed. He did admit to continuing to date this girl even after he had known she was 14, and it's hard to get more clear cut than that. I don't think it was going to come out positively for him at this point. That was until literally 2 days later when a 70-page document would be released along with a Google Drive folder showing several alleged inconsistencies and contradictions in Ziff's story, as well as more videos and photos that had not previously been seen. Now, if you thought what he admitted to before was bad, it turns out that, in this document, there's a lot more. All this information has been collected by a previous mod for Ziff's Discord server, so to start, there is a lot of Discord screenshots of the victim, and some of them actually include the victim lying about her age. But contrary to what Ziff says, she wasn't lying that she was 16, she was lying that she was 15. That might not seem like a huge deal given the obviously large age gap, but in some states, 15 and 16 is the difference between legal and jail time. The fact that Ziff would even lie about that has led a lot of people to believe he was trying to make himself look more charitable in the public eye. And the document also aims to confirm that the victim was born on April 24th, 2005, confirming the real age she actually was with a photo of a driver's license, which, I'm assuming is hers. It could be someone else's, but I'm assuming it's hers. Just a little bit of a side note here, but I'm pretty sure the victim was or is a furry, judging from the furry head in the driver's license photo and the OC furry drawing from Ziff's previous tweet, which seems to line up. And screenshots are also shown confirming that this victim did indeed start dating Ziff in May of 2018, at which point the girl would have been 16 in the lie and 13 in reality. But according to Ziff, she said she was 17 at the time, which again, this one little thing you may not see as the biggest deal off the bat, but every little lie can kind of add up and be very weird to look at, in totality with everything else. Probably the biggest thing here, though, is as it turns out, Ziff had allegedly lied about when he knew her real age in the statement. Moreover, he seemed much more okay with it in DMs and straight up admitted to a lot of weird things. These screenshots provide a lot of confirmations. The victim was 12 years old when she and Ziff developed feelings for each other and was 13 when they started dating. They began dating on May 4th, 2018. This is confirmed via messages in the general log from 2018, which shows them wishing each other a happy 2-month anniversary on July 4th. America Day, woo!
Ziff
was aware of the fact that she was 13 and yet decided to continue engaging in a romantic relationship with her despite knowing her true age. Victim: I've been lying about my age for 2 years. I'm 13. And he just says, yeah. And then on the same day, Ziff says she was just concerned that the age difference would be too much. But I said from the beginning that I'll wait for her. So he's directly acknowledging the age here. And this guy says, oh, so you're like broken up? Ziff says, nope. And this guy's just like, I'm about to head out. And you guys need anything at the store? So at least according to this, he had known about her age not for 6 months, as he said in his statement, but for over a year. There's even a video of Ziff and the victim that can be seen on the couch together, which according to this document is dated way after he admitted he knew her real age. Now, probably the biggest question that's still kind of left up in the air is if the assault allegations were true. Remember, the victim had said that they had been assaulted, contrary to what Ziff said of him always saying no and always denying it and never doing anything with her because he was like a Christian guy. In the document, there is a screenshot of someone saying that one of the victim's cousins reached out to them about Ziff engaging in oral sex with the victim. There's also another person saying they had gotten into contact with the cousin, that the parents knew, and that the victim's cousin is trying to get the police involved. But other than that, there's no definitive proof of anything as far as that in real life taking place. It's not, super far-fetched to believe it could happen, but I just haven't seen it directly or, seen a police report or something, I guess. There are, however, several screenshots of what seems like Ziff trying to cover up anyone talking about this, and it makes me think that he was a more malicious actor in the situation than the statement led on, especially after those DMs where he seems very unbothered by the victim revealing her real age to him. That's pretty much it for the document. Obviously, I did leave out some things because it's very, very long, but if you guys want to see the full thing, I'll leave it down in the description for you to check out if you want to read through it and give it your own, take and thoughts, basically. Now, Minecraft YouTubers being some kind of creep, some kind of degen thing is a very oversaturated thing at this point. It's basically just a meme like, gee, every Minecraft YouTuber is a groomer. It's kind of an overplayed thing. But guys, in order to improve ourselves in the present day, we must reflect on the past. Those that do not remember history are doomed to repeat it. So this is a message to all tubers, all Minecraft tubers, or tubers in general. Okay, if you're tubing, let it be known, don't tube into the child. When you're hopping on the tube, the slip and slide type thing, right? Take the path on the fork in the road, the Robert Frost fork in the road. Take the path that leads you to the adult, not the child. The child path will be bad for you. Big shocker, it will be. So let it be known. Do not take the child path. Do not dabble in children appreciation, children enthusiasm, children loving. Do not dabble in that. It's not a good thing. Big take, I know, and I'm just kind of the guy that's bringing this to the forefront. Nobody said it, so I just feel like I have to, be the guy. I'm the one guy. They call me crazy. Unless some crazy bombshell comes out proving that a couple of dozen people were conspiring basically to ruin Ziff's life and all these DMs are fake. I think the case is pretty cut and dry, but, who knows how he'll respond if he does at some point. Other than the fact fact that Ziff admits to knowing her age for months in his own statement. All the Discord DMs are also fully archived in the Google Drive with a program, so there's a very, very, very small chance this is fake. It could be. There's a very, very small chance. That's about it for today's video. Hope it uplifted you, brought you inspiration and self-help motivation. Hope it brightened your day, and I'll see you all next time when I do something a little less weird and gross. When I make a video about something a little less weird and gross. Freudian goon? Goodbye.